right. It was like a big weekend for AEW, and they got the Wrestle Dream, I guess, pay-per-view that they got going on. I was like, this is like my first like real like AEW like review of really sort of. I mean, I was like, no, I was like, I did one last week. A couple weeks ago. So I mean, no, but this is like my real like first like pay per view, And I was like, I've been trying to watch AEW a little bit more. I was like to get more in rhythm, with their well, I was like re into all their stuff because I was like I did used to watch it. But anyway, I was like, that's another time. That's a little enough rambling. Anyway, I was like, I'm gonna go through some of these matches. I was like, I'm not gonna go ahead and like lie of being like I know these matchups or something like that, but I'll talk about the ones I do know. Now I was like Bryan Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. Apparently they were supposed to have a match at Forbidden Door, and Danielson got hurt, so this is gonna be obviously that match. I was like, I've heard of Zack Sabre Jr. and I was like, seen clips, but I've never actually seen none of his stuff. So I think this would be a good, introduction for me, just because, especially because I was like, out of anybody, it's with Bryan Danielson, and I was like, out of anybody, he's gonna give a good match out of anything. So I think that's gonna be a good one here. But I could see, I was like, but going off of that little bit of information, I'm gonna say Zach, just because I feel like Bryan is one of those people that's like he'll put on a good match, and he'll let somebody else win if it builds up another story or builds up, or like he doesn't need wins, also to be Bryan Danielson or whatever. But anyway, that's just on my cop out pick. Hangman and Swerve. I'm actually sort of excited for this one. I've been like a fan of Swerve since like his days on NXT. So I was like, I always sort of liked his presentation. I was like his moveset and all that other stuff. And I was like, I also liked Hangman Page, as well too. So, from his stuff with like Kenny and whatnot. So I was like, but here after their little promo beef that they had on Dynamite and stuff like that, I think Swerve is going. I was gonna say I think Swerve could do it, especially how they threw in like the, like being like the first, like you get opportunity. That I could have been like the first black champion, all that type of stuff, and it's like it's not on like the Booker T Triple H type of thing, but it's like that. But at the same time, I can also see it as like Hangman winning to prove that like you're not on this level. I was like, I'm still the guy kind of thing, but I'm gonna go with Swerve here. I was like, just because I was like, you could keep on doing things with Swerve. But if he lose, I was like, man, I was like, this might actually be a good match where it's like you actually don't know where it's gonna go in the story. I was like, I'm gonna go with Swerve. I was like, because I feel like with his new, with his faction and all the other stuff, you want it to be dominant in order to prove like they're real. So I'm gonna go with Swerve for that one. I was like, I know about FTR, but I don't know about Aussie Open. So I was like, for this one, I was like, I'm not gonna really, I don't really have nothing really here for that one or whatnot. In that particular regard, MJF is doing a 2-on-1 handicap match versus the Righteous, and there's also one of those where it's one of the things where it's like in a handicap match, you have to do this right to make sure the tag team looks strong, but also that when they lose, because MJF, I was like in this match, MJF gonna go through the whole thing, and he's gonna put on like a brave face, kind of doing it for Cole and whatnot. That you don't want them. I was like, I feel like you can, but you don't want him to do like like Super Cena, or like how where he could take on the whole group and doesn't get hurt or beaten or whatever. And I can see them trying to keep the tag team titles. And also too, you also got to sort of I was like pinning the champion. He's the main champion, but I was like, I feel like for storyline purposes, it could work for him to lose it. But the way that they sort of been doing on AEW, I think that he's gonna pull off the win. Basically like I did it for you, and just keep that friendship and that thing going with Adam. I was like, so I think that MJF is going to pull out the victory, even though that's so you're not burying the tag team. That's not what I want to say, but it's making them look a little weak in that type of way or whatever. So then you got Chris Jericho. I was like the Golden Lover, which is Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi versus Callahan's group. I was like not Callahan, Callis family. My bad. With Takeshi and Guevara and Will Ospreay, and I think they're gonna win. Once again, this goes back to my thing of like building up a faction, and you want them to be strong. So the first thing that you're gonna do, especially when you've been taking out them individually, is like, yeah, they're gonna become good as a team and all this other stuff, but you want your new group to be built strong, be menacing, being like we're gonna take over. You have them win. That was like, this is not no if and a buts. I was like, this is pretty straightforward and simple. I was like, that's how that one's gonna go. I was like, you just got Guevara in there. I was like, Will Ospreay is joining the group. Have them win. It's not even the thing. I was like, then we got Christian Cage, Darby Allin, 2 out of 3. And I was like, they had the whole thing where Darby lost to basically him and Luchasaurus, even though it's a triple threat match, but it wasn't. I was like, Christian's gonna win this one. I don't think it's. I was like, yes. I was like, Darby done held the championship several times. I was like, and Christian had been holding it for the longest. But also, I think the gimmick and all that other stuff that Christian is doing, you're not going to kill that in this situation. I was like, it's a good thing going on. I think you need a title in order to keep that way he stays prominent. His words have more meaning. I was like, when he's talking junk to everybody, talk about everybody, dead siblings, or how they life got ruined and all this other stuff, your mom and all that kind of stuff. He gonna have the title. I was like, I think he's gonna win this one, but obviously I think it's gonna be they both gonna each get a pin before Christian gets the last one. I was like, otherwise it's not really. I mean, unless they just come out and he just straight dominant, but I doubt it. I was like, I feel like they're gonna do a build up. I was like, of the story, and that's how it's gonna do 1-1. I was like, I'm gonna say that Darby gets the first one, and then Christian gets the last 2, and that way they can make it look dominant. Instead of just like 2 straight out the gate, it'd be Darby, and it's like, oh, Christian, oh, what is he gonna do? I was like, he down his back against the wall. Oh, he won one, and then he gonna win another one where it's just like, you can't beat me, kid. I was like, that's how it's gonna go, and I just want to also see if he just snacks somebody's mom in the process. I think that'd just be funny. I was like Eddie Kingston versus Shibata. I was like, I don't know enough of him. I know enough. I was like, I know about Kingston. Him being Claudio and getting the double champ and going. I was like, but I don't know enough about him in order to give anything how it's going to go. I mean, I could say who I think will win just because of like storyline and all that other stuff. I think Kingston's going to win, but I don't know enough about that guy to give any analysis on this. So, wash hands out of this. Chris Statlander and Julia Hart. I was like, I only know a little bit here or whatever. But I was like, I was like, it'd be interesting to see how they go, because Statlander basically, once she beat Jade, she's been having the title, and I was like, you want her to sort of like reign supreme. I mean, be strong after like knocking somebody off like Jade. But Julia, who I was like, her and Statlander got beef, so I was like, I think Statlander will pick up the victory, but I think there'll be shenanigans and stuff in place that will have it be murky, but I think Statlander will get in the end. I was like, so the 4-way of the Young Guns, not the Young Guns, Jesus Christ, I'm combining people. Young Bucks, the Guns, I was like, the Lucha Bros, and Orange Cassidy and Hook. I was like, I think it's gonna be Orange Cassidy and Hook. I think that's sort of the game here. Now, granted, I was like, Hook has been in a bunch of tag teams as well too, so I mean, this sort of just fits what he does as well in that situation. But I think just because they're a newly formed team of Cassidy and Hook, I think they'll get it over somebody like all 3 of the other ones have had the tag team championships, and in comparison. So I was like, so I was like, not saying that it'd be tiring, but it's sort of like been done in a way that Cassidy and Hook haven't. And since it's a match where you get the tag team championship at any time, Cassidy, who makes appearances and, just be his lackadaisical self. And I was like, also sort of like Hook at the same time, but you also know he means business. I'm like, just showing up randomly or just showing up to talk to the tag team champions. I was like, that's something you could keep on doing until there's a time that they cash that in. So I'm like, they're going to win it just off of that basis. And then there's Ricky Starks and Wheeler Yuta. I think Ricky Starks gets this one just to prove his case of being able to like tough it out, I'm like, strong and all this other stuff. I could take y'all beatings and whatnot. And even though Willa got that, they got like beef with each other and, thinking like you ain't nothing just because you out here surviving, you ain't winning kind of thing. I think it's going to be Ricky to win this in order to shut this down and basically get that one solid win. Don't get me wrong. I was like, him losing the Willa could also work, but I think I think he'll get a victory here to, at least give him a little pebble, being like, see, I told you so in this situation. Anyway, that's just sort of my rundown of AEW Wrestle Dream. Got some disagreements, or you got some more like advice of like the people that I was like, I don't have enough for, or other matches and stuff like that. Hey, let me know. I appreciate it. It's just like if you like the video, I also appreciate that. But if not, hey, maybe next time. But until then, I'm out.